Allow yourself to imagine that you are looking at a view screen on the ship that not only shows you what is out beyond the ship, but overlays a diagram of all the energy connections in our solar system, all the vortices, all the pathways, all the lines of light and energy that connect every world in our system to other worlds. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take a deep breath in and hold it and blow it out. Focus now on the center of the diagram on the view screen in the ship. This will represent our star, our sun, which in our ancient language is called Shah, which means exalted light, higher light. It is a yellowish-green star, similar to your own, slightly hotter. That is the center of our solar system. As we begin this journey, as the ship begins to move, allow your mind and your sight on the view screen to move to more outer and more outer rings and orbits, as each ring represents the idea of the orbits of the 7 planets in our system. Beginning with the planet that is closest to our star, which in our ancient language is called Sio. Similar is this planet to the planet in your system that you refer to as Mercury. A small body orbiting our star, exposed to the vast heat and light of our sun. In that sense, a spherical rock, vibrating at a certain frequency as it orbits our star. In what you would call approximately 90 days, 3 of your months. And as you observe the surface of this small rocky world, you will notice that there are a few craters, but not so very many. For this will have a surface that is constantly changing. So close to the star it is in a plastic state, almost a molten state, except where it cools on the far side away from the sun. You will find that it is a relatively smooth body, darkish in color, constantly shifting, constantly plastic, heating and cooling, constantly changing. The surface is always different, always slightly different. It appears similar to the black basalt of your lava flows over its entire surface. So you see the trails and creases and wrinkles of the expansion and contraction of the surface of this world as we glide slowly past it in our spacecraft. And as we thus then leave Sio behind, we come to the second world in the second orbit around our star. In our ancient language, this world is called Cheni. This would translate to the idea of a kind of disembodied spirit. This world is larger than the first, not as large as your world, not as large as ours. but contains over it, in many places on its surface, large crystalline deposits poking out from the ground. There is no real plant life here, but an array of rocks and crystals of a variety of colors and hues in various places that absorb and transmit the sunlight through the surface in a variety of ways that cause energy vibrations to be given off that are unique in our system. And from this world do we mine the crystals that we place in our motherships that connect us to the vibration of creation and the vibration of the vortex, the major vortex in our solar system, which is on the planet Cheni, that connects to many other systems and is a gateway we often use to allow us to translocate from system to system, star to star. And you feel the harmonic vibrations of Cheni as it radiates out into the cosmos, and all the overlapping vortices that exist, ripples radiating out from central gates and points all over the world as laid out by the crystal formation. And as we move past Cheni and move outward into the third orbit of our planet, similar in many ways to yours, also occupying the third orbit, but approximately 111 million miles from our central star, because our star is hotter. Thus we are slightly farther away from our star than you are from yours. And our orbit includes a day of almost 24 hours, similar to yours, but of a year of 454 days for one orbit around our star. And this is our world that in our ancient language is called Ethani, the world and place of living light, the world of the people, the world of the Sassani, our people, one of the hybrid races which are descendants of yours, whom we call in our ancient language Ethani, the ancestors. And we thank you for our life and our light, and we thank you with gratitude and appreciation for our ability to communicate with you and share our common bond and our common family line. And our world is green and park-like. There are no major structures. The world is slightly smaller than your Earth, with more water than your Earth, with higher oxygen than your Earth, and is very green with almost no seasons. No major cities, for our ships are our cities. There are very few structures on the planet, but it is teeming with life. Our life, animal life, plant life. It is a very beautiful world, very peaceful world, and a very quiet world. For we are all telepathic, and there are very few conversations taking place. You can, in time and in dream, visit our world, and we welcome you and invite you to our home. And as our great ship now moves beyond that world to the fourth orbit, gliding away from Sassani and approaching the world that is known as Ptha, it is similar in many ways to the world you know also in the fourth orbit called Mars, though it does not have the same rusty surface. This world also has plant life in abundance upon it, and we have bases upon this world. You will find that it is, in that sense, not exactly what you would find comfortable to inhabit, but we have adapted ourselves in many ways in our evolution in transitioning from physical to quasi-physical reality, capable of existing on this world for a variety of reasons, for a variety of intentions. And we use it as a transition point for spiritual growth and evolution and communication with other beings that can visit our system, who cannot necessarily visit our planet, for whom our habitation is not appropriate, but Ptha acts in that sense as a meeting place between our world and other worlds who would visit our system, who need a more rarefied atmosphere and different plant life that they would be more familiar with. And on Ptha, there grows many different kinds of plants that have actually been brought from many different kinds of worlds. It is in that sense a riotous place of plant life of all different variations and colors that come from different star systems. And it is in its own way a beautiful place. And we move outward in our great ship from the 4th orbit to the 5th. But you will find immediately in the 5th orbit that there may seem to be nothing there. For this is the path of the world we call Vamar, which is the void, which is a gas giant world that is inclined about 30 degrees to the ecliptic. It does not orbit in the same plane. It is above and below, orbiting, and clearing a path so that nothing lies in that area between the idea of the 4th and the outer worlds. It is a gas giant of slightly greenish blue hue and has many moons and is beautiful to behold. And it is in that sense the void that connects us to the infinite and clears the way and clears the path. And beyond the void that is created by the gas giant world of Vamar, our ship glides out farther and farther away from our central star, out to the last 2 planets, which are locked in a dance in orbit with each other, spinning around as 2 people would do, holding hands and spinning, dancing with each other, and thus we call them the dancers, Cha Chupani. 2 dancers dancing, orbiting the farthest out, our 6th and 7th worlds in our star system, dancing around, eternally dancing in orbit around our star. And as we move farther away, gliding past Cha Chupani, out beyond the 7 worlds that comprise our system, out where you find, as in your system, a cloud of asteroids, of ice, a shell that surrounds our star, many, many, many billions of miles from the star, and forms a glowing halo that encompasses our entire system within a crystalline shell, a diaphanous shell of light, glinting with ice crystals. You cannot see our star from your reality without making a shift. But were you to look in the direction of your Orion constellation, we would be 500 light years along that path, were you to overlap our system with yours. But we are connected nonetheless, for though we may be extraterrestrial by not living on the earth, we are not alien to you. We are family, and our system is connected to your system, and very strongly connected to the system you call Sirius, the hot blue-white star that contains both physical consciousness on a planet and non-physical consciousness in its dimensional sphere, and acts as the higher guide and the higher mind of our world, and helps us evolve and ascend even as we help you. So we all climb together up that ladder of evolutionary ascension of consciousness, together as a trinary family of Ethani, Ethani, and Ea, what we call Sirius in our ancient language, Ea. Ea, Ethani, Ethani, together. A beautiful, glittering gem of tetrahedral structure that contains at its apices the vortexes that connect these systems and represents a larger family of souls and oversouls. In this area of the cosmos, of the universe, of creation, of the multiverse, of all that is. Your stories are bigger than you know, grander than you know. Even as you live your individual life stories, you are constantly uploading information to the grander stories of the grander beings of which you are a part. And each and every story is cherished and precious and beautiful and wondrous and magical and transformational, and allows all of us to share vast stories of creation. And now, as you float in our ship at the outer edge of our system, allow yourselves to reverse course and very swiftly glide past the outer planets, the dancers, Chachupani, through the void created by the gas giant of Vamar, past the world of Ptha, that is the meeting place of all worlds, past our world of Ethani, green and glowing with light, past Cheni, the crystal vibrational gate, past Sio, the plastic ever-changing surface, to the sun of Shah, and the bright, brilliant light of your own star as you shift back to your solar system through the stellar gate and arrive once again at the beautiful world you call Earth. Your home, our home to be, as we share with you in time our family lines to come. Allow your music to soften. Take a deep breath in. And welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home. Our unconditional love to you all. Our deep appreciation and gratitude for the co-creation of this interaction. Live your life story as fully as you can, for it adds to all that is in immeasurable and beautiful ways. Create. Good day. You all have a nice trip? Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you for having us here. Have a wonderful day. So, set these aside for the moment. We will get back to these tools in a while. But at this time, let us focus a little bit on our journey toward accessing core beliefs. Let us focus on a primary question. That question is why? Why am I here? One of the primary questions humans ask. Why am I here? Now, aside from how we have addressed this idea on a simplistic level in the past, which is to simply say, well, why not? There are very specific reasons why you chose to be where you are. And it is getting in touch with those reasons from a spirit level in choosing this life that you begin your journey to the core. Coming down from heaven, so to speak, to earth, that passage, the why of that passage, is also essential in your understanding of what it is you will be accessing in your core, because it has to do with the themes that you took upon yourself in choosing to be physical and have a physical experience. And it has to do with understanding, as we said, the patterns you have taken on from your parents and your society and how you play those out. The why. Now, when you choose themes or a kind of physical life or experience from spirit, from that perspective, from that level, before each life, again, we understand we're speaking linearly for clarity's sake. It's all happening at the same time. It's all one. We know all the lives are simultaneous, but just so you understand this process, because that's what physical reality is all about, process, that to some degree is what takes us back to the why. Why has to do with process. The asking of the questions in life, the most important questions. Why this? Why that? Why is this that way? Why is that way? The why question is the very core of the existence of physical reality, because it has to do with the fact that only in really physical reality do you experience creation in the form called process. There is time and space definitions that give you the ability to actually experience creation in process. Otherwise, from higher levels, there's no time, there's no space. A thing just is. And there is no appreciation or depth of exploration of why that thing is. So physical reality exists, in a sense, so you can develop an experience of the deep appreciation of the why component of all that is. That's what physical reality is for. And so when you choose a physical experience, what you're actually saying is you want to dive into the why of it. Not the YMCA of it, the why of it. You want to experience that aspect of all that is, the actual creative manifestation component of the one, of the all. And you need a space-time referential point of view in order to have that experience. And in that process from spirit, each time with each life, as you choose the components that will make up your experience of the why, you are very, very specific about what ingredients you put in to the experience of that life and how it relates not only to the soul family's overall experience as well as your own, but also how it relates to every other experience you are having, both in and out of physical reality. You really look at it as a network and know that every nodal point, every life, whether physical or non-physical, in that web, on that net, reinforces every other nodal point. And so the selections of what this life, this nodal point experience of the why is all about is very specifically chosen. Now, that does not always mean that you choose every specific thing that happens specifically in the life before you come into the life. Some things are left up to the idea of randomness because that's part of the why as well. But the themes are generally specific, and sometimes certain ideas that are experienced, certain situations and circumstances are set up for yourself, by yourself,